Is now a good time to invest in property? This is a question I'm very often asked by people who want to know, is now a good time to invest in property, or should I wait because the market, should I wait till it comes down? And in this video, I'm going to answer that question for you. So my name is Simon Zutshi. I'm the founder of the Property Investors Network, which is the largest network of property investors in the UK and the longest running, originally set up in 2003. I'm the author of Property Magic, the Amazon #1 property bestseller with over 100,000 copies sold. And I've been investing in property personally for over 26 years. And I've helped thousands of people just like you to become successful investors. So, is now a good time to invest in property? Well, it really depends. It depends on your personal view. My view is that any time is a good time to invest as long as you know what you're doing. So let me explain. Now in Property Magic, I share the 5 golden rules of property investing. Golden rule number 2 is about buying in an area with strong rental demand. Now the great thing is right now, over the last year, we've had incredibly strong rental demand. There is not enough good quality accommodation. If you speak to letting agents, they'll tell you that good properties are having 5 to 10 people view that property and they're going really quickly. So demand is generally really good in the UK right now. Golden rule number 3 is you only buy property that makes positive cash flow. What that means is at the end of each month, by the time you've paid the mortgage, you've paid the insurance, you've paid maintenance, management fees, etc., there must be some profit left over for you. If there's no profit, personally, I don't think that is a good investment. Now, right now, we are seeing property prices very high. The last 18 months, we've had this unexpected property market boom because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, what caused the boom was this. The government realized that there was a chance of the property market coming down. The Bank of England, back in May 2020, actually predicted that property prices could crash as much as 16% because of the pandemic. So the government responded really well. They introduced the stamp duty holiday, which meant that for purchases up to £500,000, you didn't have to pay stamp duty. Now that's great to help first-time buyers get on the market, and that certainly stimulated the market. Also, we had the furlough scheme. So instead of people actually being made unemployed if their business didn't need them anymore, they went on to furlough, they got 80% of the salary, and most of my friends on furlough said they didn't actually spend all the money. So people had more spending money because they couldn't actually go out and do anything with it. But more importantly, the government brought in the bounce back loans. So many business owners were able to take bounce back loans, and they weren't supposed to be used in property, but I'm pretty sure many people used that money to actually buy property. So we had this unexpected boom in property prices. Now, whenever property prices are high, whenever we get a boom, historically what's happened is there's always been a crash afterwards. And certainly prices are very high right now, or they feel very high. And so a good point might be, well, if prices are high and if we expect prices to come down, why don't we wait? Why don't we wait until they hit the bottom and then we could buy and get some really good deals? Now that is a brilliant concept, but in reality, how do we actually know if prices are going to come down? Because I have no idea what's going to happen to prices, to be honest. But if they do come down, how do we know when it's going to happen and how do we know when it's hit the bottom? And here's the reality. When prices do hit the bottom, if they do come down, and everybody knows they've hit the bottom, I mean, the press say they've hit the bottom, the media, everyone, the general public think property prices hit the bottom, then all people who are selling property will have the expectation, right, we're at the bottom now, prices are going to start coming up. So anyone selling a property will hold on with the hope that someone's going to come along and offer them more money for their property, because after a crash, you always get a boom. And so some people want to try and judge and guess the property cycle. And people talk about the 18-year property cycle. Now, I believe that there are trends, there are statistics, but when things like COVID come along and then the government intervenes and brings measures in which causes the market to absolutely boom, I think it disrupts these cycles. So if taking everything else out, yes, these cycles are here, but I think it's very dangerous to try and predict because you never know when something like a COVID will happen and you never know what the government are going to do to respond to them. So rather than trying to judge when's a good time to come in, my view is as long as you know what you're doing and following the 5 golden rules, it's always a good time. Now, let's say the market comes down and you're buying property now. Is there a risk that you buy a property valued here and 12 months later the value has come down? Is that a risk? Well, yes, that is a risk. Does it mean you've lost money? It depends. If you're looking to buy a property to renovate it and sell it on, then you could potentially lose money. However, in my book, Property Magic, golden rule number 4 is we like to hold property for the long term. You see, you can absolutely make money short term. You can buy, you can renovate, you can sell. And that's been a very good strategy to use in a booming market. However, if the market's not going to boom, if it stagnates, or certainly if it goes down, that's not a good strategy. Whereas I prefer, instead of buying, renovating and selling, I prefer to buy, renovate, refinance, and then rent. It's called BRRR strategy. Now, the reason I like to do that is because you can absolutely make money by buying, renovating and selling. But once you sell that property, you're crystallizing the profit. You're never going to make any more money from that property. Whereas if you rent it out, you could make positive cash flow every single month, as well as the long-term capital growth. Having been investing in property for 26 years, I've seen that the general trend every 10 years, on average, property prices double. Now, like anything, remember, it's an average. It doesn't happen every 10 years. It's an average across the whole country. Some areas do better than others. And a hot tip for you, to find an area that's going to have better capital growth than other areas, look for areas where the population is growing faster than the average. Because if the population is growing, it means there's an increased demand for rental properties and also properties to buy. So a little bit of a tip there for you. But my point is, rather than trying to guess cycle, say, is now a great time to invest? Should I wait till the property market crashes? We never really know. And so if you find a good property right now that stacks up, i.e. it gives you the cash flow you want and the return on investment, which is the measure of how much money you get back each year compared to how much you need to put in, the higher the ROI, the better the deal. As long as it meets your criteria, my advice will be to buy that property, as long as you're following the golden rules. Because even if the price comes down, as long as you know you can rent it out because there's strong rental demand, as long as you know it's going to make you positive cash flow, and as long as you're thinking long term and holding the property long term, it doesn't really matter if the value's lower in 12 months' time than it is now, because you're not selling. The only people who lose money in property are people who buy high and have to sell low. But if you can afford to rent it out, making positive cash flow every single month, and you know you can easily rent it, then why on earth would you sell that property? You just need to wait and allow the property market to come up. Now, how do we know the property market's going to come up? Surely it's really high now. Is it going to go any higher? Well, you've got to remember that in the UK, we live on an island. It's a very popular island with a limited amount of accommodation and an increasing population. Despite a number of people unfortunately dying during the COVID pandemic, despite a lot of people leaving the UK because of Brexit, we still have an increasing population. We have increasing birth rates. We have longer life expectancy. We have changing social demographic trends, which means more people are living on their own. This all puts upward pressure on the demand for good accommodation. That's why in the UK, over the long term, property prices continue to grow. And we've heard recently in the news that inflation has hit 5%. Now that's higher than it's been for a very, very long time. Actually, inflation is good for us as property investors for 2 reasons. First of all, cost of living, everything goes up. That means rents also go up as well. So we get an increase in the rental income we're achieving. And certainly in 2021, we saw a massive hike in rents. Also, inflation means the value of that property is going up, and inflation will also erode the amount of borrowing we have. Although the amount of money we borrowed on an interest-only mortgage will stay the same, the real buying power of that erodes over time thanks to inflation. The one risk with inflation, obviously, is increasing interest rates. The Bank of England use interest rates is a macroeconomic tool to control inflation, and there's a risk they might put interest rates up. So obviously we can fix our interest rates on a 5-year fixes, which is probably a good thing to do to minimize the risk. So is now a good time to invest in property? I believe as long as you know what you're doing, and as long as you find a deal that stacks up today, you know you could rent it out, you know it makes positive cash flow, and you're holding for long term, I believe yes, now is a really good time to be investing in property. I do hope you enjoyed this video. It would be a big favor to me if you could like the video. If you've got any questions or comments, please put them below. I'll come back and answer as many as I possibly can. And also, if you're not subscribed to this YouTube channel, click on the bell icon and subscribe, because you'll get notified when these new videos come out every so often. And it'd be a shame for you to miss out on all this free content I'm providing on this channel. The other thing is I've lined up another video for you to watch, and I've got some brand new online training which is designed to help you become a more successful investor. It's completely free of charge. It's the latest up-to-date training that's going to give you a competitive advantage in the current market. Just click on the link below and come and register for that complimentary training. So until next time, I encourage you to invest with knowledge, invest with skill. Hey, I do hope you've got massive value from watching this and the other videos on this YouTube channel. I've prepared some extra training all about purchase lease options, which is the most powerful tool you could use to control property and works with every other property strategy. You really do need to make sure you understand about this. That's why I put this extra training together for you at no cost. All you have to do is click on the link below the video, come and fill in the details, and you get access to that training. And I really think you should definitely do it right now. I've also lined up another video for you that I think might be interesting for you to watch as well. So until the next video, remember to invest with knowledge, invest with skill, and click on the link and come and join me for that additional training all about purchase lease options.